Hi guys, and welcome to the video on the inverse of a matrix. So for this video guys, we're going to use the determinant to find the inverse of a matrix. Determinants and inverse of matrices are used in credit card encryption, and that's why we're learning this. And you'll know you're successful when you can find the determinant and then take the inverse of a 2x2 or 3x3 matrix. So at any time you can pause the video to take notes on the screen, but we're going to move kind of fast through this. So what use is the determinant? We are going to use the determinant in order to find the inverse of the matrix. And in order to find the inverse, what we do is we take the reciprocal of the matrix is determinant, and then that is going to help us calculate the inverse. So example, if you take the inverse of a reciprocal, or excuse me, if you take the inverse of a number like 8, the reciprocal would be 1/8. So if you take the reciprocal of a matrix, we would write it as a negative 1, and that a negative 1 has a process for a matrix. So if you want to calculate the determinant of a 2x2 matrix, use the following step-by-step process. You're going to swap the positions of A and D. You're going to make B and C negative, meaning you're going to flip their sign, and then you're going to multiply by the determinant of the reciprocal of the matrix. Flip the sign for B and C. What you're going to do is do the determinant of the original 2x2 matrix, and then you're going to do 1 over that in front of it, and then you're going to use that as a scalar for the 2x2 matrix. So be careful though. The matrix that you're going to take an inverse of has to be a square, so it has to be a 2x2, and the determinant cannot be a 0. While this matrix shown is a square, its determinant is 0, so that when you do take the reciprocal of it, you get 1 over 0, and that's not possible. You can't have 1 over 0, so the inverse does not exist. Okay, so example, find the inverse by hand of the following 2x2 matrix. So first thing we're going to do is find the determinant, and the determinant is going to be 4 times 6 minus 2 times 7. So the determinant here is 24 minus 14. So the determinant is 10. Now that I know the determinant, I'm going to go ahead and put 1 over that determinant out front of the matrix. And then I'm going to redraw the matrix. And then I'm going to switch A and D. So D becomes A of 6, A becomes D of 4, and I'm going to put a negative sign in front of the 7, and I'm going to put a negative sign in front of the 2. I'm going to flip their signs. And then I'm going to actually multiply all this out. And so my inverse matrix is 0.6, negative 0.7, negative 0.2, and 0.4. So there is my 2x2 inverse. Calculate the inverse by hand of the following 2x2 matrix. Okay, so again, I'm going to calculate the determinant first. So it would be 3 times 2 minus 5 times 1. So the determinant would be equal to, made my equal sign, would be equal to 6 minus 5. So the determinant is equal to 1 here. So then I'm going to put my determinant, I'm going to make the reciprocal of it, and 1 over 1, it's just the reciprocal of 1. And then I'm going to switch the positions of A and D. So 2 and 3 get switched. And I'm going to put negative 1 and negative 5 here. And when I go ahead and multiply 1 by all of those, I get the exact same matrix still. So 2, negative 1, negative 5, and 3. And that is my completed inverse of that matrix. So for the inverse of a 3x3 matrix, what I want you to do, guys, is in your packet, I want you to copy this process down. onto that page in the back of the on the back of the determinant page where it has notes for inverses. I want you to copy these steps down. To calculate the actual inverse of a 3x3 matrix requires way too much work. So thankfully, our graphing calculators can do it for us using the matrix menu. So you're going to enter the matrix into the matrix menu by going into the matrix menu by clicking second and then x to the -1. And then you're going to want to edit matrix A. You're going to go ahead and retell it the dimensions. So you do have to tell the calculator that you're going to be working with a 3x3. And then once you do, you can type in all 9 entries. So you type in the 9 entries. You're going to quit the matrix menu. And then you're going to call up the matrix on your screen by hitting second, x to the -1st, enter. And then it will select matrix A. And then you push the x to the -1 key, which will look like this. And then if you hit enter, it will give you the matrix inverse here. So this matrix on the bottom is the inverse of the original matrix A. So I did do an example here. Find the inverse of the following 3x3 matrix. So I did a step-by-step thing. So I went into the matrix menu by hitting the second and then x to the -1 button. And then I went over to edit. And immediately it says that A, the matrix I'm going to use, is a 1x1. So what I would do is I would hit enter here. So I hit enter. And it takes me to this screen here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this setting so that it is a 3x3. And the matrix that I'm going to have is actually going to be a bunch of zeros for now. So what I'm going to do then is go entry by entry. So it goes row by row. So you're going to fill out all of this row first, and then you're going to fill out all of this row, and then all of this row. You fill all of those out. And you press enter after each number entry. So the original matrix of 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 gets entered into the calculator like this. And then once you're done, you're going to hit quit. Second quit. And then you're going to push the original set of buttons. So quit, then re-enter the matrix menu. That's the original buttons that we pushed in step 1. So original buttons in step 1. And then you're going to click on matrix A, select it by hitting enter. And then what you're going to do is it's going to take you back to the home screen. And then we're going to press the x to the -1 button. That's going to tell the calculator to take the inverse of matrix A as we entered it. So before you hit enter, your screen should look like this. And then you're going to record the results. So when you're done, you should get a 3x3 matrix with inverses. So 3, -1, -1, -4, 2, 1, -1, 0, 1. And that matrix is the... Oh man, my screen is going haywire here, guys. Sorry. That matrix is the inverse of that 3x3 matrix. So, in summary, guys, we're going to use that determinant that we were working on of a matrix in order to calculate its inverse. We can calculate the inverse of a 2x2 matrix pretty quickly by hand. You invert A and D and switch the signs of B and C, then multiply that by the reciprocal of the determinant. And then we have to use our graphing calculator in order to find the inverse of a 3x3 matrix. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.